Hi there, my name's Bryony and I'm the Head of Coaching here at Relish, and today I'm talking to you about the Gottman Method 101, history, overview and how it can save your relationship. So here's everything that you need to know about this popular method. First of all, what is the Gottman Method? The Gottman Method is an approach to couples therapy that's based on the sound relationship house theory. The Gottman theory assesses your relationship and helps you and your partner address your problems with research-based interventions which are derived from the sound house theory, which I'll talk a bit more about in this video today. The Gottman Method aims to improve verbal communication, increase intimacy, increase respect and affection, remove barriers to conflict resolution, and ultimately create more empathy and compassion within your relationship. So the Gottman Method is personalised for each couple. The beginning of the process involves individual and conjoint therapy sessions, in addition to questionnaires that help you judge the status of your relationship. After the initial assessment, you and your partner work with your therapist to decide the frequency of your therapy sessions. After you've established the therapeutic framework, which is basically a fancy phrase for your therapy schedule and plan, you'll begin therapeutic interventions to help address the problem areas in your relationship. The therapeutic interventions work on improving three main aspects of your relationship: friendship, conflict management, and creating shared meaning. The Gottman Method can work for all types of couples, regardless of sexual orientation, socioeconomic status, and cultural background. So, who invented the Gottman Method? The Gottman Method was invented by the psychologist couple Dr. John Gottman and Dr. Julie Schwartz Gottman. Combined, the Doctors Gottman have 40 years of psychology research experience, in addition to clinical experience that they've used to create their relationship therapy methodology. During his career, Dr. John Gottman focused on marital stability and divorce prediction. He's currently Professor Emeritus of Psychology at the University of Washington, where he continues his research of couples at what they call the Love Lab. Dr. Julie Schwartz Gottman is a clinical psychologist who's an expert advisor on marriage, sexual harassment including rape and domestic violence, same-sex marriage, adoption for same-sex couples, and parenting. The Gottman couple founded the Gottman Institute in order to provide relationship help for couples, as well as training for mental health professionals who work with couples. The Institute is dedicated to the practical application of psychology research in the therapy world, with the goal of improving and supporting relationships, marriages, and families. So, what is the psychology behind the theory? The Gottman Method approach is based on the sound house theory, which identifies the essential foundations of any relationship. The sound house theory is a bit like the relationship version of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. There are 9 essential parts of a relationship that build on each other to help you and your partner achieve a successful, fulfilling relationship. Each stage is predicated on the success of the previous step. The theory holds that the foundation of all romantic relationships is an understanding of each other's worlds, and that once you establish this understanding, you can then learn to share fondness, which will encourage you to lean on one another, embrace positive perspectives, manage conflict, achieve your dreams, and finally create shared meaning. Each of these levels is paired with different activities that can help you and your partner achieve the goal. In order to understand your partner's world, you should each build love maps that detail your psychological world, your histories, anxieties, and hopes. Once you have a better understanding of each other, you can focus on expressing appreciation and respect for your partner to strengthen the amount of fondness and admiration in your relationship. After this level, you focus on stating your needs in the relationship and being responsive to your partner's needs so that you learn to rely more on one another. Following this step, you and your partner will learn to problem solve through a positive perspective. Establishing a positive perspective in this step will allow you to manage conflict more effectively in the next step. Once you learn how to effectively manage conflict by focusing on management, not resolution, you'll be equipped to manage both solvable and perpetual problems. Creating this type of atmosphere will allow you and your partner to discuss your hopes and aspirations which will lead you to achieving your dreams as a couple. Finally, understanding your partner's goals and vision will help you create a shared meaning, which is really the ultimate goal of a successful relationship. The theory also holds that these things can only build off one another if you and your partner establish trust and commitment through the entire process. In the Gottman Method, trust means believing that your partner will think and act in order to maximize your interests and benefits, as well as their own. Commitment means believing that this relationship is a lifelong process that involves embracing and expressing gratitude for your partner's positive values. The psychology of the theory can be hard to manage on your own, which is why you and your partner will need to find a Gottman certified therapist to guide you through the process. So, what are the Gottman's 4 horsemen? In addition to the second house theory, the Gottman Method uses the 4 horsemen analogy to characterize poor communication styles and responses that can effectively destroy your relationship. The analogy borrows the horseman metaphor from the 4 horsemen, conquest, war, hunger, and death, of the apocalypse in the New Testament of the Bible, which is perhaps why the theory seems a bit dramatic. But the Gottmans know that communication can be what makes or breaks a relationship. In this analogy, the Gottmans' 4 horsemen are criticism, contempt, defensiveness, and stonewalling. Each of these things can create major problems in your relationship. It's important to be able to identify each of these 4 horsemen when they're present and work towards using more productive language and communication techniques. For each horseman, there's an antidote that you can use to communicate more kindly and more effectively with your partner. So in this analogy, criticism is the first horseman. In a relationship, it's never helpful to criticize your partner's character. If you're unhappy with a specific thing they did, it may be necessary to express your complaint, but it's important to do so without attacking your partner for who they are. Instead of criticizing your partner, you should bring up your complaints by using I statements to talk about what you need from them. Contempt is the second horseman and is a degree meaner than criticism. If you or your partner express contempt in your communication style, you assume a morally superior position and critique your partner from that position. This can manifest in ridiculing your partner, mocking them, or using sarcasm. Contempt is often fueled by unaddressed negative feelings towards your partner. Instead of approaching a conversation or a conflict with contempt, it's important to affirm the qualities that you like in your partner and also affirm the positive things that they do. It's also important to address small conflicts as they arise in order to avoid stewing over insignificant things. The third horseman is defensiveness, which is often a response to criticism. Being defensive often involves finding excuses and trying to reallocate blame, which is never really constructive. If you find yourself being defensive, try to take responsibility by accepting your partner's opinion, apologizing, and then moving on. The fourth and final horseman is stonewalling, which is normally a response to contempt. Stonewalling occurs when you or your partner completely shut down and tune out during a conversation. Stonewalling is a result of physiological flooding, and it can often be difficult to converse effectively in this state. To avoid stonewalling during an argument, you should acknowledge that you're overwhelmed and take space from the topic until you feel that you can talk about it rationally and kindly. Don't be discouraged if this seems overwhelming. Identifying the 4 horsemen and developing more effective communication strategies can be really difficult, which is why you need a certified therapist to help you to work through this. So, how does the Gottman Method work in therapy? If this sounds completely awesome and you and your partner are totally sold on pursuing therapy in the form of the Gottman Method, you might be wondering how to participate. If you Google something like Gottman Method therapist near me, you'll find a list of Gottman certified therapists in your area. You can also go to the Gottman Referral Network found on the Gottman Institute website, which again you can find by our old friend Google, and there you can find a list of certified therapists. So one small benefit of COVID-19 is that Gottman Method trained therapists are actually offering online therapy through video conferencing. This means that you can address your relationship problems without actually having to risk going to an in-person therapy session. It also means that you have access to a certified therapist, even if there aren't any therapists exactly in your area. The Gottman Institute also offers private couples retreats. So you can think of these retreats as a super romantic weekend getaway that will also improve your relationship. The retreats are currently on hold because of the pandemic, but a new calendar of retreat options will be released shortly. So in addition to these therapy options, it's also possible to enroll in private marathon couples therapy online, actually with Dr. John and Dr. Julie Gottman. The Marathon Couples Therapy is an intensive online therapy with the creators of the methodology themselves. The option involves 3 days of therapy with 5-hour sessions each day, so it's intensive to say the least. While this can seem like a huge commitment, meeting with the actual creators of this theory will help you and your partner overcome any relationship problem you're experiencing. The intensive format can also help you address your problems in a super efficient way, helping you avoid weeks of shorter therapy sessions. The various therapy formats make the Gottman Method approachable and convenient for all couples, regardless of your location or time constraints. It might be a time to stop making excuses about actually why you aren't addressing the problems in your relationship and try the Gottman Method. So what kind of issues is the Gottman Method best for? So the method breaks relationship problems into 2 categories: problems that can be resolved and problems that are perpetual. The Gottman Method focuses on addressing perpetual problems because these are problems that will always exist but can be managed with the right coaching. The therapy methodology can help you and your partner navigate frequent conflicts and arguments, poor communication skills, and specific problems like difficulties with your sex life, infidelity, problems related to money, and parenting problems. The methodology is also appropriate for couples that are emotionally distanced and are considering separation and/or divorce. Most people turn to therapy when there's a significant problem in their relationship. And as we explained, the Gottman Method is perfectly equipped to help you and your partner sort through these difficult problems. But actually, the therapy can also work well for couples that aren't having any significant problems. The Gottman Method is focused on making your relationship healthier and stronger, and even happy couples can benefit from this type of help. Embracing the Gottman Method will help you navigate current problems, as well as conflicts and problems that arise in the future. So, is the Gottman Method effective? The Gottman Method is one of, if not the most, research-based methodology for couples therapy out there. The combined experience of the Doctors Gottman has informed this theory and led to an extremely effective methodology. In addition to being research-based, the Gottman Method has also been the subject of a lot of research. Studies using randomized clinical trials have been published in the Journal of Family Therapy and the Journal of Family Psychology, endorsing the effectiveness of the Gottman Method with a range of clients. In addition to these studies, many clinical trials have been conducted outside of the United States that also endorse the efficacy of the theory. The Gottman Institute is also in the process of conducting additional research to prove the efficacy of the therapy method. So if you're not sold by the extensive amounts of clinical research, you can also search for testimonials online from couples who've gone through the therapy method themselves. There are a lot of videos available online featuring real couples that have used and fully endorse the Gottman Method. So that's it from me. If you're interested in learning and practicing the Gottman Method today, you can have a look at it and some of the lessons which are based on this theory on our award-winning relationship self-care app and connect with a relationship coach for free. Get started with Relish today, and I wish you all the best with it.